All right, today we're going to dive into something called lean thinking. And I know, it sounds like just another piece of corporate jargon, right? But hang with me, because this is actually a really powerful way of looking at things. It's a philosophy for getting more of what you actually want, more value, better results, by using way less of everything else. We're talking less effort, less time, and yeah, less money.
So, to kick things off, let me ask you a quick question. What do these three things all have in common? Picture this. You're waiting for a huge file to download so you can finally start your work. Or that sinking feeling when you realize you have to go back and fix a tiny typo in an email you just sent. And hey, even that yogurt you bought with good intentions now hiding in the back of your fridge, way past its expiration date. What's the link between all of them?
You guessed it, they are all, in one way or another, forms of waste. Every single one is an activity that uses up resources, your time, your energy, your money, but creates absolutely zero value in the end. And here's the part that might blow your mind. Some studies suggest that in a lot of our typical day-to-day processes, more than 60% of everything we do is just pure waste. That's where lean thinking comes in. It's like putting on a special pair of glasses that helps you spot all this hidden waste and gives you the tools to get rid of it. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll get to know our enemy, waste. Then we'll dig into the core philosophy behind lean itself. After that, we'll jump into the 5 key principles that are the real engine here. We'll also look at this huge shift in thinking from a push to a pull system. And finally, we'll talk about how you can actually start using this stuff in your own life.
All right, first things first, let's tackle the problem of waste head on. You see, the biggest issue with waste is that it's sneaky. It's a master of disguise, hiding right there in the open in all the things we do every single day without even thinking about it.
Lean thinking really boils everything down to 2 simple categories. On one side, you've got value. Now, value is whatever your customer actually wants and is willing to pay for. And customer can mean a client, or it could just be the next person in line in your workflow. Then you have everything else. And that everything else, that's waste. It's any step, any delay, any bit of effort that doesn't directly add to that value. It's that simple.
You know, this whole idea of getting rid of waste isn't new. It has really deep roots, especially in Japanese manufacturing. They even have a specific word for it, muda. It's a great word. It perfectly captures that feeling of futility, of uselessness. And honestly, finding and stamping out muda is basically the central obsession of lean thinking.
So how do we actually find this muda? Well, lean gives us this fantastic tool to help us spot it. A handy acronym, TIMWOODS. It stands for the 8 types of waste. Let's run through them real quick. T is for transportation, moving things around for no good reason. I is for inventory, all that extra stuff just sitting around, like a mountain of unread emails. M is for motion, people moving unnecessarily, like walking all the way across the office for a printer. W is for waiting, and we all know this one, waiting for an approval, for a file, for a slow computer. Then you've got O for overproduction, making more of something before it's actually needed. The second O is for overprocessing, like gold-plating a feature nobody asked for. D is for defects, mistakes that mean you have to do the work all over again. And finally, and this one's a biggie, S is for skills, the incredible waste of not using the talents and ideas of your people. I promise you, once you learn this acronym, you will start seeing these wastes absolutely everywhere.
Okay, so we've met the enemy, and its name is waste. Now let's talk about the philosophy that was literally designed to hunt it down and eliminate it. And like I said, this isn't some brand new fad. It's something that's been honed and perfected over decades.
I think this quote just nails it. The whole point is to create perfect value for the customer. But here's the key. You don't do it by working harder. You do it by working smarter. And that means being absolutely relentless about cutting out all that muda that clogs up the process.
And the backstory here is pretty cool. It really kicked off with Henry Ford, who was a genius at creating flow for mass production. But his system was rigid. You could have any color as long as it was black, right? Then fast forward to the 1960s, and Toyota takes Ford's brilliant ideas and just completely revolutionizes them. They added the crucial element to flexibility and put the elimination of muda right at the heart of everything. But here's a fun fact. The term lean wasn't even coined until 1991, in a book that took these ideas from the factory floor and spread them to literally every industry you can think of.
All right, so we've got the what and the why down. Now for the really important part, the how. How do you actually do this lean stuff? Well, it all boils down to these 5 core principles that work together in a cycle.
So here they are, the 5 principles. Number 1, you have to define value. And this is critical. It's always from the customer's point of view. What do they care about? Number 2, you map the value stream. That means you literally draw out every single step in your process so you can see where the waste is hiding. 3, you create flow. The goal here is to make the value-creating steps happen one after the other, smoothly, with no interruptions. Number 4 is to establish pull. This is a big one. It means you don't do any work until the customer asks for it. And last but not least, number 5, pursue perfection. And this is why it's a loop, not a checklist. You're never done. You get to the end and you start all over again, always looking for ways to get a little bit better.
I just want to double-click on that second principle for a sec, mapping the value stream. This is an absolute game changer. We're talking about creating a visual map of your entire process, from the very beginning to the very end. And when you do that, for the first time, you can actually see all the stuff that was invisible before. The delays, the bottlenecks, the wasted effort. It's like the MRI for your workflow. It shows you exactly where the problems are.
Okay, let's talk about one of the most powerful, most revolutionary ideas in all of lean thinking. It's the shift from what's called a push system to a pull system. This one idea completely changes the game. It's about moving away from guessing what people might want and instead just responding to what they actually ask for.
And this analogy just makes it so clear. A traditional push system? That's a buffet. The kitchen just cooks up giant batches of food based on a forecast, pushes it out there, and hopes people eat it. What happens? You get a ton of overproduction and waste, right? But a pull system, that's like a fantastic made-to-order restaurant. The chef doesn't even start cooking until you place your order. The work is literally pulled through the process by real customer demand.
Now, the real-world application of this whole pull idea has a name, just-in-time, or JIT for short. This was a massive pillar of the Toyota production system. It's a simple but profound idea. You only receive goods or do work right when they are needed for the very next step. What does this do? It absolutely decimates inventory, which, if you remember our Tim Woods acronym, is one of the biggest forms of waste.
So we've talked about the problem, we've looked at the philosophy, we've gone through the principles. Let's wrap things up by looking at how you make this a real, living, breathing practice. Because lean isn't just a method, it's a mindset. And that brings us to one last crucial Japanese concept, Kaizen. It literally means change for the better or continuous improvement. This is the philosophical heart of that fifth lean principle, pursue perfection. It's this deep understanding that you are never, ever done. Improvement isn't some project you finish, it's just part of what you do every single day.
So I want to leave you with this thought. Now that you have the Tim Woods acronym, where can you spot the hidden muda in your own life? Is it the motion of hunting through folders for that one file? Is it the time you spend waiting for a web page to load? Maybe it's even the overproduction of cooking way too much pasta for dinner. The amazing thing is, once you learn to see waste, you can't unsee it. And that right there is the very first step toward creating so much more value with so much less work.